Oh,
Hey, and welcome everyone to the Sketch Zone podcast. I'm Carlos Gomez, and with us this week, we're about to accomplish episode 185.
wow.
And
Whoa.
185
Getting up there.
is special because number one, we have 184 other episodes that you can check out. But um, earlier in the week, we on our Discord channel. And Landon should probably be in the chat soon. He's going to share the link. Landon's kind of taking over the Discord, which is wonderful. Thank you, Landon. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
on our Discord channel, we had someone, I don't know if anyone ever wants me to say their name live on the show, but we had a discussion about being a production assistant for whatever studio. And then the discussion kept going, talking about becoming a PA and then the next steps after becoming a PA. And I said, well, I know the exact guy we need to talk to. It's my buddy. We've been friends for a couple of years. We only bump into each other at Ground Zero Animation Expo. No big deal there. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Ground Zero is fantastic. And this is one of the reasons, I mean, we always talk about meeting people of like minds and stuff like that. So you guys, please welcome to the show, Miguel Baltazar.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys
And
for having me.
if you notice, hey, see, told you Landon's here. Hi, Landon.
Oh.
And if you notice, the live studio audience is yet again on vacation because Jack just got back from Korea. Welcome back, Jack.
Welcome back, Jack.
But jet lag be whipping that ass, so we
It's a real thing. The lag is real.
and Charlie B. Williams is here.
What's up, nation? I'm here. I'm happy to be here. It's summertime in Chicago, finally.
Didn't it snow last week?
No, it did not snow last. No.
2 weeks ago?
No. What are you talking about?
No? Okay. I thought maybe it was snowing out
It's
there.
been Seattle here.
Yeah, rainy.
It's been gloomy and rainy, but now it's starting to act up. And today was literally 90 degrees.
Wow.
So
I was watching the Cubs game and it looked really nice. Everyone was in their warm weather attire.
It was Saturday weather, as like I like to call it. It was hot. I jumped off the train today early because I'm in the process of getting a new motorcycle. So
done.
Yeah, coming back. I told you I'd be back. Told you I'd be back here. But what I did, I'm being an adult about it. And like long story short, I'm taking a little bit of a refresher class. I'm trying some new styles of bikes. I want to be confident and cool, calm, and collective. And it's kind of nice to take a little refresher because it's been 8 years since I've been on any type of bike, and I used to have a sport bike, so we're not going that route this time.
Yeah,
but I can't wait. So we'll see.
I had a Roadster. It was legit.
Mm-hmm.
It was comfortable.
Yeah. I got a bunch of bikes in the runnings. It's like American Idol right now in my life because it's American Idol for these dealers. So who's gonna win? I don't know. I got people pulling for Harley. I got other ones BMW. There's a bunch of different options.
I know who's saying Harley and I know who's saying BMW.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Speaking of both of those two, yeah. And I finally shout out to my boy Patrick and Wes. I saw Mr. Wes.
Patrick wants you to get the Harley. Wes wants you to get the BMW.
Yeah, he says it's an R9T. Why not? Why wouldn't you get the BMW?
Wes wants me to buy a motorcycle and move back home so we can go riding to Alaska, I believe he said.
Wow. It's cold up there. I'm not going.
Don't worry, global warming is going to grab a hold of it up there. Really nice.
Sorry, I'm not doing that, but it's cool. Also, the Triumph was in there, but I think I've eliminated that this week and only going with these two. But I'm doing it at the Harley dealership, and it's awesome. Nice. I did the class tonight. It's long. You don't do it with the state. well, A, you don't have to worry about it being ghetto and like, you're starting out with 24 people, ending with like 5 because people,
Mhm.
because of all that. But when you go with a private course, it's kind of nice. And I've never done the Harley one. I've done just a regular private one. So this Harley one has been kind of like Harley propaganda, but it's been nice. So it was the first thing tonight, and like in there you got guys that like kind of ridden before, guys who haven't.
Yeah.
But like I'm sitting there like I don't really want to do this part because it's like they spread it out. It's 4 days.
Damn.
I just swore that was only 2 days last time when we took it.
No,
I feel like
it was 2 days. It was 2 days over 2 weekends, I believe.
No, I didn't do it for 2 weeks. I did it for 1 week.
Maybe you had the
Maybe it was 3
long ones, because I think the way it works in Illinois is you can either do 4 days of 4 hours a piece or 2 days 8 hours a piece.
That's what I did.
Okay,
that's what I did.
That makes
but
sense.
Like this spreads out, so it's 5 to 8, 5 to 9ish or whatever, 5 to 9ish, 8 to 4, 5 on Saturday, 8 to 4 on Sunday. It's going in. I think it's supposed to rain.
Like fun. No,
it sounds like it's supposed to rain. 90 more. It's supposed to be like 90
Saturday
degrees.
Saturday weather.
Yes, it's gonna be so hot.
You know, when I got my motorcycle license, it was when the cicadas came out.
Oh wow!
So we're driving motorcycles, and all these nasty locusts were just flying all around, smashing up against it.
That's big though. That's a pretty big bug to be getting hit in the face with.
Yeah, that's why you wear helmets,
right? So yeah, so that's all me right now.
Miguel, you ever ride a motorcycle at all? Miguel?
Nope.
Nope.
Haven't read one.
No.
Oh, and the other thing though, Carlos, scooters. Chicago has got all these scooters now that they've put out, and they let like 12 companies like do a test run.
Yeah.
So the West Loop, like the cutoff point is Halstead, all the way to like the river, and like they basically have like 1,500 scooters everywhere, like or more. It's like
the rent a scooter type of thing.
Yeah, cool. So Lyft, Uber, this other scooter called Wheels. What's the other one? There's a bunch of different ones. There's another one called they're like a bunch of different companies that are like doing this whole test bed this summer, and you can do ride shares. They're ride shares. So the ones are called like Vio, Jump, Bolt, Lime, Bird, Wheels, Uber, Lyft, and then there's a couple Bolt. There's a couple other ones. I think I might say Bolt, but like there's a lot of them. So of course the crazy sucky part about it is you got to have all these apps on your phone because there's like 15 different apps, and they're not bad. Look like the Wheels is the fastest one. It goes about 23 miles an hour. People are like doing crazy things. There's pictures on a lot of them, like in the water, in the Lake Michigan. There's one called Bird, and then like people have been like throwing them in the actual like trees.
That's what I keep seeing. I keep seeing these little scooters being like thrown into windshields and stuff.
Yeah, because hoodlums and stuff. But like you got a bird in a tree, so like this is doing stuff like that. But
come on, Chicago, you know better than that.
But the rideshare aspect of it hasn't been too bad on your pocketbook. You own that thing for like 5-10 minutes. It gets you to where you need to go faster because you're going at least 20 miles an hour, 15 to 20 miles an hour on a scooter. And then like you look at how much it costs you, and it's like $1.50.
That's
or
sick.
like $2. So for the West Loop, as you know, the West Loop is what Carlos, it's really good. So it's kind of like a nice way. It's just that right now they don't have a way of like the messed up part about it is when you finish, you have to like park it in a certain way on the side, but you can park it anywhere. So like, I don't know. I feel like they need to have like some bullpens or something where you can put them in, because literally they're just like in front of businesses, like 15 stacks. Some of them are laying on the floor. It's kind of weird, and we heard about that from other cities, and I think that's the only part that people don't think through is
How to park them.
how to park them, or like where you can put them in the city. Like if I was a business, I don't know if I want all those scooters right in front of my place of business and stuff. Especially since it's hot outside, people just like laying them around anywhere, you know.
Like in
someone
LA.
at work brought that up. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Go ahead.
Yeah, someone at work brought up the scooter thing because the show that I'm on, someone has a scooter and I rode it around my floor, and someone brought that up, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
That's
When I was
crazy
at-
though.
When I
Yeah.
was down in LA and I did I went and met up with one of my friends that lives down there now. That if you watched my last video on YouTube, Fidel, he's going to the LA Film School for music production. So when I was hanging out with him, we saw a bunch of these scooters outside the LA Film School. And kind of the same thing. They weren't throwing them up in the trees and stuff, but we saw one definitely in the water fountain. And that's why people can't have
Oh my
nice
god.
things.
wow.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope. Gotta ruin it.
So let's go ahead and get into the fun prompt. One of the cool things about Miguel is every time we do the fun prompts at the Ground Zero Animation Expo, Miguel's one of the guys that comes in there, and every time, I don't know if you've noticed this, Miguel, but every time you're drawing, you draw a crowd. You don't draw a crowd with like the Photoshop. You draw a crowd like people stop and watch you draw. It's really
it's like it just organically happens each time.
Yeah. So the way we have it set up, Charlie, is well, last year I had my main computer, but this year I had my laptop, and I connected the laptop to a XP Pen tablet, and then I also take an external monitor and put it to the side. So when Miguel is working, he can just draw and focus on drawing, but then there's
another monitor
somewhere else where the passerbys are able to watch, and they're not looking over his shoulder, and he can still get down and do all his thing. And it's cool because everyone likes that. They have fun doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
As a spectator, Miguel, do you think that's a good move on our part? You think it's fun?
Oh, totally. I think that's what drew me to you guys in the first place. You know, just seeing the fact that like someone's doodling something, and I don't know, it's such an awesome idea, and it's interactive. You know, it's not just you talking to the person. It's you getting the chance to like try out the product that you guys are making. I thought that was just awesome.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for that, I still would have seen you guys, but I feel like that friendship we have now and that connection we have wouldn't have been as strong had it not been for that opportunity to like draw and stuff, you know? So
yeah, because we get
really appreciate it.
Like Miguel will swing by and he'll spend at least half an hour working on something.
Oh, awesome. Wow.
While that's happening, like we're able to talk to him. And when we first met, actually, before we do that, put a sticky note there. Remind me to go there because we haven't done the fun prompt yet.
Oh yeah, we can go back.
All right.
So Landon said, and Landon was our booth babe. So he was the sexy one.
Well, Landon's like turning into different things each week.
And Landon said, Miguel was awesome sketching at GZA. I sat down next to him to see if I could steal some of his secrets. That makes a lot of sense.
I should have charged him, but you know, I'm a nice guy, so I figured I'll just pass on the knowledge.
You should have.
That's what he does. You gotta be careful.
All right, let's see what
I know.
did. Last week we came up with an owl barbarian, or probably 2 weeks ago now.
Oh yeah,
owl barbarian expecting.
Yeah, that's.
So let's see.
This is a dark one.
Yeah.
SLC, Steve Clark.
Nice.
I love his work, man. I love his work.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know if you've been noticing, but Shiloh is starting to drop little hints and little tips. So he'll do a rendering or he'll do a drawing, and then he'll like do a screenshot of the brush that he used.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you guys should follow Shiloh Illustration on Instagram, and he's starting to drop his little nuggets of wisdom.
Oh, sick.
All that to say, Steve Clark, I've been noticing that they're interacting a lot more now too.
Oh, cool.
Uh-huh.
So it's really cool. Again, good job, Steve. This is wonderful. His wife is pregnant. He's about to chop someone in the throat.
Yeah.
Little Robin Hood action happening. All right, let's see who else chimed in. Ooh, my internet must be hella bad.
Ooh,
Joey Wall.
Oh,
that's different, Joey.
We'll see you in a little bit, Joey. Miguel, Joey is in England, and he usually loves it. He's waking up usually right about now. So whenever he gets ready, as he's getting ready for work, he watches the show. So he'll probably be logging on in a little bit. But this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is
Nice stuff.
really neat. There was a conversation happening.
Like you use sponge or something, like a sponge or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
A conversation happening on the Discord where people thought that this thing on the right was maybe a turd.
What?
He's defending a turd.
Fitting his honor.
Let's see what else. Hey-o! Jay Bird. She'll probably be logging on too. Yeah, she was our guest last week. We made a promise to each other. We made a deal that if she did it, I would do it, and if I did it, she would do it. So this is hers, and I like it because this owl is looking for someone he's daring someone to come mess with his egg, or her egg for that matter.
He also has like a one good eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Elizabeth.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah. Nice job.
Hello, yours truly.
Oh.
Yours truly. I have a barbarian that's expecting an owl.
Oh,
You see what I did there?
okay.
But the owl must have taken the day off or something because my man doesn't by himself.
Yeah, no, man.
Nice.
Shiloh, speaking of which,
Woo.
this dude here.
Yeah.
Joshua.
Flying at the same time. Woo.
Moongia says, awesome to see Michael on this.
Yeah.
You guys are great. Well, thank you, Moongia.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Shiloh killing it yet again. And again, I believe this is one of the drawings where he shows which brushes, and he's even like sneaking out some process videos and stuff. He's always been doing process videos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you're not following Shiloh, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at you.
Out.
I'm not looking at you, but it's not too late.
What's funny, Carlos, is that I think he started following me because of Sketch Zone. So I've been following him for a while. I'm a really big fan of his stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool that he's posting like his process because I've always been curious as to like how he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that, hey, Drew, all good. We're all a little late, but yeah, he's posting process. And one of the things that I have learned from watching his videos is he does more than just one drawing. He'll keep drawing different little scenes, like little thumbnails, until he finds one that he really likes, and then he goes in.
Yeah,
he picks and chooses now.
Yeah,
but it's nice. It always turns out really good, so it's gonna.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I've learned a lot from him just watching his videos.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see who else. We got Pat Illustrates.
Oh,
Wow.
This one's really cool too.
yeah.
The landscape came out really well.
Like bold colors.
That nest. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nest is the real deal.
Yeah. This is like got a lot going on
Mm-hmm.
in a good way.
Yeah, nice job, Pat. Let's see who else is here. Gus Frava. Gus Frava. I always say his name wrong. Gus Frava. Let's take a look just to make sure.
Let's see.
Gus Frava Ilustraciones.
Oh.
So yeah, Gus Frava. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the story behind it.
Uh-huh. I also like the looseness too.
I was gonna say it reminds me of maybe even some storyboard.
Yeah.
panels. Yeah.
Oh, yep.
We'll get into that here in a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, buddy.
Get it.
Yeah, so good job, Gus.
Storyboards. Awesome.
Let's see. Oh, my little pop-ups went away.
Yeah.
All right, so
Ooh.
look at that. Landon.
Oh, Landon Wilson.
Landon.
Look at you.
Yeah, this one, yeah, it needs a little work. Just kidding, Landon, man. This one came out good. We're gonna have to talk about this whole kill for food thing. I'm not sure what that's all about. Oh, brother, let me know.
Barbarian for hire. Yeah.
I did another scheduled fun prompt drawing. The words were barbarian, owl, expecting. I did similar oil painting in school. That was more of a self-portrait. Well, not more. Same pose, same green colors, same hopeless character. See, the thing is, okay, and then we go like very personal stuff.
Whoa, Landon, you
Yeah.
you need to seek some help.
Landon's got a really cool story, and I'm excited to see where he takes it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I like this. I was teasing. Again, I'm a fan of very loose colors and lines and figures, and
Mm-hmm.
killed this foot right here.
Yeah.
That foot is really nice.
It's a nice foot.
All right, let's see. We got Mike Allwood.
Oh.
That's a new one.
Yeah,
We got a new Mike Allwood. We got a new. We'll follow
New person.
Mike.
New person.
Okay.
We're just a bit. Oh, Mike! Come on, Mike! Look at you. What? I like doing this. That's a good one too.
Okay, Mike.
I see you, Mike.
Yeah.
Good job, Mike.
We see you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great job.
We see you, son.
Mm-hmm.
We see
I see you over there.
Awesome. Great job, Nation. Let's pick a new one.
All right.
All right, so we know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
We had adjective, animal, character, action, style, and location. Does
Action.
anyone have action? I heard
Action.
Okay.
Yep.
Miguel,
I'm with them there.
do you have another one?
Let's go with
And chat.
location.
And chat. Just, damn it.
Let's go with adjective.
And adjective. Adjective, action, location. Let's see what kind of hot mess we come up with.
All right.
Oh,
Yes.
homely
Another dark one.
in a hotel room.
Whoa. Dang, son.
Love it.
Oh.
Ah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, this is a good one.
All right. All right.
You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Good.
Excellent.
Let me get
Awesome.
some get some happiness in it.
I know.
Yeah, it's been dark 2 weeks.
That is outstanding. Okay, so
Can't wait till Jack sees that. That's a black and white one right there for Jack.
complete, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be some Escher like one window. Like he's gonna paint the whole thing black on purpose with ink.
Yeah.
And just have the one light shaft and draw everything inside that shaft.
Yeah.
Something really crazy.
Before we go too far, I want to say hello and congratulations to oops, how about we do this? To a friend of ours who I met. Number one, I met at not Ground Zero, but CTN.
CTN, okay.
And she also was a guest on the show, Carly Melder. If you guys, I don't remember what episode she was on.
I remember that name.
Middle to late last year.
Mm-hmm.
She
got a job,
I believe. She's been working at different animation studios, like smaller ones, and but I think I let it out last show. One of the animation places I would love to work at would be Titmouse. And so I noticed on Facebook today, and I gave her congratulations. Carly landed a gig at Titmouse. So congratulations,
cool.
One to Carly for
keeping at it and got it. Yeah.
And congratulations to Titmouse, because you guys got a really good artist. She is her art is hilarious. And her animations and everything that she does, it's very cool. Very, very good stuff. So congratulations, Carly.
Congratulations, Carly. Yeah. Hey, we got a question.
Congrats.
We got a question in the chat.
Let's see. Is that Drew's question?
I'm
thinking about getting an iPad for artwork. What is the smallest size you guys think you could recommend? I like portability.
Oh, wait a minute. I know.
Drew, I'm not gonna lie. It depends on your budget. Because I have the version 1 of the iPad Pro. And that's, I really like that. Plus, yeah, and Charlie has yours is the iPad Mini, right?
It's the Pro. It's iPad Pro, but it's the 12. What is it? Let's see. I forget which one it is.
I think didn't they come out with like a 10.5-inch iPad Pro?
Yeah, we just got this one.
So basically, let me say it like this. In the new update of iPad OS and Mac OS, the computer, if you're running a Mac, you're going to be able to use your iPad as a Cintiq.
It's going to be nice.
So think about that.
Let that marinate.
Yeah, just imagine having a Cintiq, being able to use Photoshop and stuff. Once you connect however they're going to do it, I think you're going to be able to do it over the air. But
I think it'd be cool.
But if you need like a lot of real estate to run desktop applications, you might want to look at the bigger ones.
Yeah, but if you want portability, this one's perfect. Which is, I can check to see which version this is. But this is the iPad Pro, bought only like 3 or 4 months ago. So, and it's my main daily driver at work now. The leadership at our job, the art staff, we do. We all have iPads. Well, I got iPads for the whole design department, and we Apple Pencils, and we use
So
these.
that's probably the 11-inch.
The 11 or 12.
There's an 11 and there's a 12.9.
Yeah. So, and then I love this like Apple what's it called, art pad or art case or whatever. It's the one that has the keyboard.
Oh yeah.
It's like magnetic, and then you turn the keyboard light on. Where's that? And it lights up too, I guess, right? Does it? Yeah, it does. There it is. There it goes. So,
hey Drew,
Oh,
you might
cool.
still be able to use it. Take a look at this thing called Luna Display.
oh, that's a good one. You can do that. Yeah, you can download that right when you get it.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of their little devices.
And also, Drew, yeah, like the best part about this whole thing is like you can put your iPad, you can put your Apple Pencil right up at top, and then it really nicely fits up there. But if you want to make sure it's more secure and not just have it there charging, you throw it in here, and then here you go. And you put it right here.
Oh, también es como que.
So yeah. So that's the best part about it, and that's like really good portability. But since it's got like a magnet on there, you can play it on your desktop. You can put it on your lap.
Es como
You type.
cuando si un niño juega
So it's totally great. So check that out. And Carlos, you said it's the 11.11 inch.
Yeah, they have an 11-inch, and then they have a. I'm trying to unmute you, Miguel. Unmute yourself.
All right.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
So yeah, even if you have a PC, I believe you can use. I just remembered that Luna Display actually extends your desktop, but it doesn't have the pressure sensitivity. AstroPad has the pressure sensitivity, and I believe it'll run on a PC as well.
Oh, really? Does it?
I think so.
Oh.
I didn't even
But I'm looking through the website right now because I don't want to talk too crazy.
Yeah,
But anyway.
I'm trying to see here. Well, it says
it said AstroPad is Mac only. Okay, so don't do that then.
full keyboard. The whole liquid thing. Okay, cool. Interesting. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting with that. But yeah, I really like it. I was using a Chromebook for a long time as like, because sometimes being leads and department leads, you need some kind of laptop or some kind of like thing to take to meetings with you.
Mhm.
And the Chromebook has been good, but like I don't use a Mac, so I didn't want to have like a Mac laptop. That's usually more the producers at work. But this has been perfect. This has been way better. And I feel like when you have this up into like I call it laptop mode or whatever, when it's like all you need is a mouse, and then it raises the question of like, is this basically can replace a laptop now? You know, with the new like iPad OS and stuff like that. Once you add a mouse to it, it's like there it is. And that's a lot. And I'm not a Mac person, but for this, I am. And I've been exploring Sketchbook Pro because I love the Copics. I've been on this whole industrial design kick and ideation sketching and all that other stuff. And now I'm slowly getting into the Procreate because I'm finding the reasons why the different parts of it's a little better.
Yeah.
In terms of stuff. But I wanted to really I've been watching all these blogs with like Autodesk and all these other people that have been using Sketchbook Pro just for product design and just for like industrial design, because I love that like sketching. I love that art form. If you think of it like that, I love the art form, and that's the one I want to study. I think it gets your point across. I always say use different techniques for different jobs, and if you're trying to get sketching across to somebody or ideas and stuff, there's a whole curriculum on that, you know. So I've been trying to figure out what that is. and how that works and how you can do some of those little, those little like tests and stuff. Like you can do like 15-second sketches, all other good stuff, and then
sure.
marker rendering, all that good stuff. So I don't know. I'm going on a tangent, but anyway, it's been really nice. So I'm excited for you, Drew. Whichever one you get.
Yeah, let us know too, because everyone's always wondering what's a proper solution, and yeah, no, everything is going to get really cool very soon. Like Charlie said, Procreate is legit. Even Sketchbook Pro is fantastic, and I actually like Sketchbook.
I do too.
On the computer, kind of better than almost anything else to draw with.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's the tool meant for sketching. To me, I feel like Procreate. I put Procreate as the ultimate illustration tool.
Yeah.
It's a souped up Photoshop. It's made for those like beautiful, like deep illustrations, I think. But Sketchbook was a nice little niche because, like, you need to concept out some stuff. You need to like work on some other things, and I can see we can do it in Procreate. There's a couple of things, and I don't know if they're gonna work on that. Obviously I'm coming late to the party, getting back into all this, but like the other part that I was always meant to talk to you and Jack about, Zach and Miguel, you can chime in, is like, since it's free now, does that mean they're just
what's free?
Sketchbook?
Oh,
are they just content with like it being there? Because I feel like if they just update their, like, they have some cool stuff that they just updated, right? Like the bendable ruler that's in there. That's really nice. If you haven't tried that yet, it's really super nice.
The bendable ruler in
Sketchbook.
Oh.
So what happens now is, you had the ruler there before, right? Look, isn't that crazy? I'm talking about drawing programs. I don't do this. You had the ruler there before, right?
Yeah.
But now, Carlos, you have like, this is what I wish I can like draw on screen. Now you have like 3 points on your ruler, and if you grab one of those points, they're like Bezier handles, and you can basically bend it. Which
snap!
Which means you can't. This is when I need to be able to like switch over to the. I got to figure out how to do that, Carlos. Now I got a new project. I need to be able to switch over to my iPad. I can't do that right now. What if I'm logged in?
You know what's funny is every once in a while I'll open up my different drawing programs, and I have no idea what the hell I'm gonna see. But I was watching TV, and last time I opened up Sketchbook, I was watching TV, and this dude was on TV.
Oh, you probably have it. So show him. Click on the ruler, unless you're not updated.
No, I should be.
So then it tells me like,
yeah.
So like, what will we do then with the French curve now? So now bend it around the guy. So
well, the French curve was always a little. I appreciated the fact that.
Can you bend it?
So if you look up here, you have a circle guide. You have a bendy ruler and the regular ruler. So if you tap the bendy ruler, now you have. I don't know if you can. Here, let me hide this dude. You might not be able to.
Yeah, we see it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's a ruler, and it's got the 3 little dots, and you can tap, pull that up.
So it's like you don't have to go
that way more than the French curve,
right? Like you don't have to switch
way more than the French curve.
Yeah.
So the only thing I want them to do is to update their like, basically their lazy brush type feature, because it seems like Procreate's feature is a little bit better. Where like Sketchbook, I have to do a curve like boom, and then it does it right.
Yeah.
Seconds later, whereas like Procreate updates as I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I find myself having to make the shape I want, and then it smooths out. So it's almost like they make you draw it anyway, like make you draw that shape right. And if you draw that shape right with the smoothing on, it's going to go ahead and smooth. Whereas I want to be able just to correct it while I draw. So like, I just want more updates now from both because I think it's a good niche. It'd be a shame for it to go away, and nobody else right now has that deal with Copic. I think that's the coolest thing, having all the Copics in color set.
What kind of drawing equipment do you have, Miguel?
So I think I have Sketchbook Pro, and then for the most part Photoshop.
Yeah,
those are like the main two I use to sketch and stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I tried using Sketchbook Pro like 2 years ago, and it was cool that they had those like Copic features and stuff. And I remember the French curves thing, but the 3-point ruler is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because I don't like Photoshop doesn't have that, and I feel like that's a step above any program. Because like even with the smoothing and stuff, like there's not as much control. Whereas like if you actually do that, like there's more control over the curves you have. So, but for the most part, those are the main two I use. Yeah.
And sometimes the curve just doesn't come out the way you want it.
Nah.
I'd rather set a ruler and get it in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
kind of, cool. Yeah.
What kind of software do you use at work?
Oh, okay. So I actually use Photoshop. So the way it works at Dreamworks TV, it's weird because each show has a preference for the story team as to what software they're going to use. Mainly it's Storyboard Pro.
Okay.
But certain shows can use Photoshop. So yeah, I use Photoshop at work and at home.
Cool. Yeah, so when people come and they say, "Hey, do I need to spend all my time learning Sketchbook Pro?" Or no, sorry, Storyboard Pro.
Storyboard Pro? I feel like it's necessary though, because there are times at work where I would need to use Storyboard Pro for certain situations. So it does help because one show, and I feel like the show I'm on, the Boss Baby TV show, that's an exception because not all TV shows work that way. For the most part, they use Storyboard Pro. It's like the standard for TV. Because Storyboard Pro is more, it consolidates a lot more features, such as like the timeline tool or the timeline feature where you can actually like time out your storyboards. You can also put in audio. You can also import 3D models in there, which is really cool. And then you can also export out your storyboards as a QuickTime. But with the show that we're on, we use Photoshop, and there's this software called Flix. It's an interesting program because it's like a browser-based software, and
crazy.
DreamWorks and Sony Animation uses Flix, and it's basically a way for Photoshop, because with Photoshop you use layer comps to put in your panels in Photoshop. And so the layer comps, basically Flix takes those layer comps and converts them into individual panels that's then put on Flix. And it's kind of like Adobe Bridge, basically. And then you put them as individual panels, and then you can order them as you wish. And then from there, the editors can just take those panels and just put them into QuickTimes. So it's good to know both. It's good to know both softwares, because then you're more versatile, and it takes less stress out of the people that have to train you with the software. So,
right.
But Photoshop is more of the exception.
Landon, we'll get to your question. But first, when I read his name, you were showing Landon something about using Photoshop layer comps.
Yeah.
Were you talking about like doing the different panels and layer comps, or was it like a drawing technique that you were telling him about?
No, it's more of like a software technique specifically for storyboarding. So it's like, actually, can I screen share if that's possible? Yeah. Okay, is it the
green?
Like the green? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
You pick window or desktop?
Okay. I'll do the entire screen. Yeah, so it's a specific thing in Photoshop that helps you with storyboarding, and it's basically you draw something on one layer, and then the layer comp kind of takes a snapshot of what your layer dashboard looks like. I need to find an example of storyboards that I've done. Oh my god, I gotta clean all this up. Let's see. Oh, story beat. Let's see. So I have this one. I think there's only 2 panels, but basically that's how I use that. That's basically what I do at work. I just would draw like a character on one layer, draw the background on another, and then from there I'll just draw the character in different poses on different layer comps. So for example, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this, like here, the layer comp, let me just delete these. So basically, like I have this character, or actually, let me go back. So I can go through these like an animation. So like the character, this is basically one drawing of a character looking up and then looking down, like that. And so let me take out the layer comps. So if say on this layer, I drew this character like this, and then the background just stays the same. I go here, so like window, layer comps, and then this window shows up.
Yeah.
And then from here, once I have my pose figured out, I can just click on here. It looks exactly like the layer icon. Layer comp 1, press OK, and then that's there. And it basically it recognizes the layers that are visible. So then I can go to the next one here, and I can just do layer comp 2. And then there you go. And then from there, it plays like an animation almost.
That's great.
So that's how it works for the most part. And then basically flicks, there are these actions that are already programmed into my workspace where I can actually go ahead, click on generate, or like each layer comp, and it'll take just the visible layers and convert them into an individual panel. So it's pretty interesting how it works. Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's basically what I was showing Landon. And Photoshop isn't really like a storyboarding software, but the features help to make it into a storyboarding tool.
Right. There's an open source program that I use for storyboarding my little animations and stuff. It's called Storyboarder. And
I've heard of that.
It's pretty cool.
I'll check it out.
They have it to where you can draw in the program itself, but then if you wanted to go a little deeper with the drawing tools, you just do a right click and tell it open in Photoshop, and it'll open up in Photoshop. And then it has all the layers. It has all the layers labeled. So you might have pencils, you have inks, you have tones, I think. You have another layer for notes. And then when it opens up in Photoshop, whenever you're done, you save in Photoshop, and it automatically updates what's happening in Storyboarder.
That is sick.
You can set your timing for the different panels and everything. Yeah,
wow. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah,
and so free. Cool.
And free.
And it's free. Oh, bro. Music to my Latino ears. Oh my god.
Write that down.
You know, Latinos like their discounts. They like free stuff. That's awesome.
You know that. So Landon,
that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Oh, of course. And yeah, reach out whenever. I've been using that. I learned about that program probably about 2 years ago now, and since then they've like updated their brush engine and all kinds of stuff. Like you can import scripts now.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
So Landon was asking, does Miguel use a Wacom at home?
Yes, I do. I have let's see. I have a 13-inch Cintiq, and it's like the newer ones, the Cintiq 13-inch Cintiq Pro. I use that for work, or sorry, at home mainly, because it's the right size. It's pretty small, and with the Pro, it's updated to where like there's less wires and stuff. Less, it takes up less real estate when I work. So, and it's a little pricey, but it's honestly worth it because the pen sensitivity is really good, and it just takes up less space when I work. So it's just me on my laptop connected to my Cintiq, and it just the workflow just works for me.
It works.
Yeah, that's cool. Landon said that storyboard had an update, so I opened it up, and yeah, it's true.
Oh, okay.
It's updating.
Right.
Drew Tipton says, "Hey Miguel, many of my friends are looking to be storyboard artists. What advice would you give them for getting it? We'll get to that right now.
Okay.
We'll get to that right now. But what I wanted to do is work up to that. As far as you getting into art and eventually getting into Dreamworks TV, what was it that got you into drawing in the first place?"
So it was just like an organic thing that happened. Like as a kid, I just liked to draw. And also part of it too was just like watching a lot of shows, a lot of animation. And that just kind of drew me to art. And it was just something inexplainable. Like I would just draw like, and I was pretty shy as a kid too. So like that would be like my escape from, you know, like the anxieties of like trying to like get to know people and stuff. And so for me, it was just honestly something that I always did. And it's funny too, because my parents, like both of them coming from Mexico, like they would just buy me whatever movies they could to entertain me, but they chose like the best movies possible to watch. So like I grew up on Pixar, and those movies were like fuel for me to then just create my own stories. So in elementary school, I would just like draw like my own versions of like superheroes, like Mr. Fantastic, and it was just like something that I just enjoyed doing, was creating stories. And so that's kind of what drew me to art, and that's what carried me from elementary up until high school. And from there, I had a high school art teacher, like my first official mentor, who like she's the one that like opened the doors to the possibilities of art as a career. Because I always knew I wanted to be an artist, but I never knew if it was actually going to be like a sustainable career, you know, where it's like, is it going to make me money? Because both of my parents are about helping me, making sure that I don't pick a career that's going to not, you know, reap the benefits. Exactly.
Get
you know, exactly. Because my dad works at a hospital, and then like my mom's like a housewife for the most part, and so for them it was just like trying to pick the best career for me, the best future for me. But for me, art was always the way to go. Like just something about taking that sketchbook and just writing down all the ideas that you have on there. That was a thing that just like would always, you know, lure me back into it. You know, so
So let's talk.
And part of it was movies too.
Let's talk about having parents like that too, because I know. I think it's safe to say animation is very new in Latino households.
Oh, totally.
Right.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
We might be the first, if not the second generation, that can actually see animation and drawing as a sustainable income, right?
What was that?
Was it hard to talk to your parents about wanting to make cartoons for a living, or were they like, "Oh, hell no"?
Well, for the most part, like it was kind of difficult because there wasn't a frame of reference to go off of. Like they grew up watching like Tom and Jerry, and I feel like that was a good way for me to kind of break the ice as to like me telling them, hey, like I want to be a part of that world. I want to be a part of that environment that creates cartoons. But for them, they just treated cartoons as like something that seems easy to do, or even the idea of like people not even making cartoons, that cartoons just kind of spontaneously just show up. But for the most part, they're always supportive, because at that time I was bouncing between either animation or just doing art, like just general fine art. And for me, just drawing was like a proof of concept for them to be like, okay, like this person, like our son is good enough to do what it is that they want to do, so we're going to give them that shot. But at the same time, since there was no one else that there was nobody else that they knew that had that animation experience, it was hard for them to like fully back me up 100% into that. They would fully support me, but at the same time, there was always that fear of not knowing. Dice Nola. So yeah, like they were always supportive, but for me, like there's something about me that like I totally get where they're coming from. So I was never really discouraged, but at the same time, I needed to prove to myself and to them that what I'm choosing to do is something that's going to be sustainable. It was like a drive for me for the most part. And whenever I would show them my artwork, seeing the look on their faces when they realize, oh man, like this is actually really, really good, that just reinforces the decision that I made when I was a kid that I wanted to do this. So thankfully they were super supportive. And also too, my dad, he grew up in a small town in Mexico and he actually drew. He actually
Cool.
grew up drawing, but sadly, under the circumstances he was in, he grew up with 10 other siblings in a small hut.
Yeah.
And for them to like have to sacrifice their education to help, work and help, make money,
Right.
he had to sacrifice what he wanted to do, which was art.
Yeah.
And so for me, knowing that, it was like that was like the thrust that I needed to pursue this goal, because for me, I wanted to, pursue art and succeed for him, because he wasn't given that opportunity due to his circumstances. So they're always supportive. And every now and then there'd always be like, little riffs, because my dad would be like, don't you want to be a doctor? Like the nurses at the hospital I work at make tons of money, and so for him, that was his frame of reference. And for me, I'm like, no, Dad, I don't want to do that. Like, frankly, I don't care about that. And he'd be like, are you sure, son? Like, are you sure? Like this makes you money. And like, Dad, I get it, but like, I want to be a storyteller.
Did your dad freak out when he's like, look, son, I grew up in Adobe, and then you went to him and you're like, look, Dad, I need a membership to Adobe?
I've never told him that, but that's awesome. I got to tell him that. There's a program called Adobe.
No, you don't. He's like, yeah.
He doesn't really know like the softwares I use. For the most part, he'll just see me drawing and stuff, and he'll just have this look on his face like, okay, and then you just walk away.
Are you?
What's funny?
Do you consider yourself more traditional or more digital?
That's a great question. I'm honestly 50-50, because I had a graphic design professor he's an older guy, and he grew up very traditional, and he was into his career as computers were starting to take off. And so for him, he was always afraid of computers. He was always afraid of the idea of computers taking his job. And so he never learned it. And that was like a cautionary tale for us to be like, hey, embrace digital and traditional. So I honestly sketch more traditionally.
Yeah.
And then at work, I just use this Cintiq because it's scientifically proven that if you sketch more on a sketchbook, you develop the muscle memory more. Whereas on a Cintiq, it's a lot harder. And that could be arguable. But just the feeling of just sketching on a sketchbook is great. But then also taking what you learned, or taking sketches in your sketchbook and putting them into the computer, like that's a really powerful tool. Yeah. So for me, I'm 50-50. But for me, like I lean more towards digital because that's what I was exposed to more. But honestly, I feel like for anybody, like carrying a sketchbook is just the best thing to do because it's so portable. It's so easy just to take out, like, like getting coffee or even at work or even during lunch, just pulling out your sketchbook and just sketching,
Exactly.
And then having that reinforce your digital, because people think that by learning digital, that's going to give them that extra step ahead in learning how to draw. But honestly, just going back to the foundational elements of sketching, that's honestly me doing that. I've seen improvements in my work. Right. So that's an awesome question.
And quite honestly, if you are, well, number one thing, whatever gets you drawing more, do that.
Exactly.
But drawing digitally, the only real benefit is you don't have to scan. It takes one step out of it, right? But your drawing, the speed of your drawing only comes from practice.
From practice.
Exactly.
That makes you more confident, right?
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, the whole animation industry is revolved around digital. So it's a necessity to learn digital.
Yeah.
But in order to improve your skills, you need to brush up on the traditional elements of it in order to then have your digital skills improve. So
And
I'm totally for traditional.
A very similar note. Actually, let me pick this up. For those of you that don't know, that haven't heard, I have a bunch of a bunch. I have like 3 or 4
Oh,
of
sick.
these wallets. So if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/coconut justice, I'm giving away this wallet here.
Oh, awesome.
Comment on one of my last videos. You have to go there.
Okay.
But yeah, like that's just going. This is yet another tool. For example, I like going into places where there's a lot of crowds, because then you get to practice drawing
people watching.
Yeah.
And say you go to a I did a video where I went to a music festival to work on my font prompt. And they don't let iPads in. Big surprise, which I like really understand. But I took my sketch wallet with me, and I was sitting there drawing different people, trying to get real fast gestures and stuff like that. I mean, there's no beating that. You know.
Yeah, and also like sketchbooks don't need updates, so you can just like pull it out and like trust that the sketchbook is gonna work.
The paper,
when they do get updates, you get like just new stuff. You get new tools and new like Christmas.
Yep. Oh, Christmas. Yep.
Yeah.
Like the bendy ruler.
The bendy ruler. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Landon said, speaking of sketch wallet, since I got mine, I've been drawing traditionally again, and it helps a lot. More confident lines.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what that means, the term confident line. When people see our sketchbooks, I'm only assuming our sketchbooks are not exactly the same, but they're very similar. Yeah. And then they see sketchy lines, and they think that these sketchy lines are actually what the art is supposed to look like.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not necessarily the case. As a matter of fact, sketchy lines are distracting and are far from a confident line. What would you consider a confident line?
That's a great question. It really all comes down to like intentionality. Like, what is the intention that you're trying to make on the page? And I think it just has to be you just like trusting your instincts and also knowing the strength of your idea to then just lay down the line without really feeling too self-conscious about how it's going to look. Like in storyboarding, it's just like you just lay down the line to just figure out the essence of what the drawing is. And then from there, you just keep going with that idea. Whereas like you're so focused on how it's going to look, not so much what the idea is going to be. I know that's very vague, but really confident lines just comes down to practice, like just drawing a bunch of drawings with sketchy lines to then figure out what's the best way to be efficient. So for me, having confident lines means being efficient with your pencil mileage. Because also too, you got to take care of your wrist, and so finding ways to draw confidently helps the efficiency, and it also just goes to show you the practice that's put into sketching for the most part. So in a more subjective sense, it's the essence, and also it just shows the intentionality of your idea. But on a technical sense, it's the hours and the mileage you put in to develop that confident line.
And just to clarify the sketchy lines, a lot of times when you do see professionals doing super rough, sketchy, those very loose, sketchy lines, what they're trying to do is what Miguel was describing, was they're trying to find the shapes that you need to pull off this drawing.
Exactly.
But what you don't want to do is put down a heavy, sketchy line, because then it's going to be harder to erase, quite honestly.
Exactly.
But if you use lighter lines to find the shapes, and then you go in with a nice
Exactly.
strong line. That's the confident line that you're looking for. The sketchy
Exactly.
line is helpful, but it's not what you're looking to do as an artist.
Yeah.
Right.
And also at the end of the day, it's presentation too. Even if your sketchbook isn't shown as a portfolio piece, it just shows your thought process. And by having sketches that don't really feel intentional, it shows the sense of the level that you're at. You know, it distinguishes you from being an amateur and a professional. To be frank, and so it's just one of those things where like you got to start at square one to then figure out how to get to those sketches that look good.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a great topic too, because at the essence, everything that we do starts with it's a sketch essentially, and then from there it builds up. And whatever medium we use, whether it be 3D or 2D or CG, then that it's so it carries on. And so just the whole idea of the line, you want to make sure that whatever lines you put down conveys the idea that you want to convey. And if people point out the lines rather than the idea, then there's something you got to work on.
Right. And to go back to one of the topics that we were talking about earlier, like if you watch some of these process videos, for example, like the ones that I was talking about earlier about Shiloh, you see just how loose he is in the very beginning. He doesn't spend a lot of time putting down finalized artwork. He's just putting down some shapes, and then he works on the scene, and then he moves on and he moves on. He doesn't spend a lot of time. He stays really, really loose.
So that's light on purpose, so that he can just erase later. Okay.
Exactly. So I mean, what good is a drawing if you spend 2 hours on it only to throw it away?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the right pose or whatever the case may be. Right. So that's why to find the scene, and again, I've said this before too, where I practice a lot on, or I try to practice a lot on, quote, moving the camera, meaning the angle of the drawing that I'm going to be doing. I don't want to spend a lot of time on something that ultimately is not going to work. And so I've been picking up on that technique too, where I just real quick, I'll throw something down. If I don't like it, I didn't spend that much time. I just keep going.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly
that I like.
Is that the same as flipping the canvas when you say moving the camera, or no?
No, flipping the canvas.
Like, how you getting different angles? Yeah. What are you?
Flipping the canvas is more making sure that your proportions are correct. It's a technique to make sure, because if you're drawing, if you're a right-handed drawer, or I guess artist, you have a tendency to move the lines in a certain way. So your face might be a little pushed off center.
A little skew. Yeah.
So what you do is you flip the canvas, and that helps your eye adjust, and then you can make the other side of the face more
proportional.
More proportional. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah. And then what you do is you keep flipping back and forth just to make sure that it looks right. Hey, long arm.
But you don't stay in that flipped.
No. It's well, it depends, because sometimes what you do is you'll flip the canvas and then you fix it, and you like the drawing better looking in that direction. So, whereas moving the camera, going back to that point, what you do when you're moving the camera is we're trained, and it's just a natural thing where we look straight, and whatever we see, that's what we see. But if you take, like, if I'm standing here and I want you guys to feel like I'm a little bit less important, I might raise the camera up and do like this. Now you guys have the power stance on me, right? Because now I have to look up to you. And that's moving the camera. Or even something like Miguel was showing, instead of looking at straight up like this, the character was looking down. And so he moved the camera down to a worm's eye view, whereas this is a bird's eye view, right?
Yeah.
So this is a powerful, like if I'm looking at you guys have the more powerful stance. Right. But if we do like this and I'm looking down at the camera, now I'm the one in power.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking down. So it's moving the camera to invoke different emotions and to find and even to find a better, more attractive point of view, I guess. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
Because again, like the storyboard that Miguel showed just now, like if he drew a character like this, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But he drew it like where you're looking up and then you can see the sky and everything. And that's a view, that's a point of view that we don't see every day.
Yeah.
So it makes it more interesting.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really what storyboarding is all about. It's like finding different ways to capture the feelings of either the characters or the moment in time in the story. And I feel like that's an awesome point that you're pointing out, Carlos, is the whole idea of like going back to the technical side of things, having those confident lines give the execution of your idea a much stronger impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And especially like if you're working on a storybook or something, moving the camera around helps keep people engaged.
Exactly.
Here's another thing.
Yeah.
They all kind of look the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like you want to entertain the person that your audience, you know, and so like having those tools in the trade, you know, in your mind and in books and stuff, that helps convey your ideas a lot stronger. Yeah.
Did you want to get into animation or storyboarding or just like kids book drawing? What did
maybe you still have that question too?
What did you say, Charlie?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Maybe you still have that question too.
Yeah. We're
go into that too.
Yeah.
We're building.
I wanted to remind you.
Hey, Strugga Bugga.
That's a name.
All right.
So where would you
Carlos,
like to go
what was
first?
I wanted to find out, like, when you were first getting into art and stuff, how did you want to get into storyboarding? Did you want to get into animation?
So it's funny because like I originally wanted to get into visual development. So it was more of like being a background designer, prop designer, getting more into like the visual development side of things. And it's funny because I didn't get into storyboarding until I was like in my 4th year of school. So I kind of found out about storyboarding a little late. And it's funny because for me, I just like drawing and I like storytelling, but I always ventured into different avenues, whether it be like, you know, like editorial illustrations or just like magazine illustrations or just in general visual development. I kind of just stumbled upon it in a class for animation pre-production.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that class is basically starting from the pipeline of developing the characters, the script, and then from there, the visual development and then the storyboards. And so at that time, I wasn't really into animation as much. I was still kind of like, I was all over the place. I was in a limbo trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until that class where I finally realized I like storyboarding because I also like writing scripts and I like drawing. And so it's just those two fused together. It just worked out. And it's funny that I kind of stumbled upon it later, but it gave me that motivation to just pursue it. So it's funny because for a lot of people, that's what happens. A lot of people that I know at Dreamworks, like they're either like biochem majors or like they majored in something completely different, and then they just ventured off into something totally different. And I think that just is amazing, because just for them to like shift their whole mindset from what they believed in the beginning to just something completely different, that's just crazy. That's super honestly inspiring, because that's just the extra work they have to put in to catch up, you know. And so for me, that's how I felt, because I was still, my skills were there, but I wasn't as fully dedicated to art, you know. Like I would only treat it as like as a job, where I would just go to school, do the homework, you know, or do the assignments, come back home, do the homework, and that's it. Like not think about it anymore. So for me, once I figured out storyboarding, it shifted my whole perception and attitude towards, you know, improving my skills and then pursuing the career that I wanted. So I
was just going to say that's an important thing to have happened in your life, because again, coming from families that don't fully understand the magic that happens in the animation industry.
Exactly.
You know, we don't have anyone to go off of or to go ask questions about.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I was all over the place creatively, because you're right. Like I didn't have a mentor or someone to say, "Hey, you'd be perfect for this or that." But also at the same time, like for anybody who experiences it, it's really rewarding when you kind of find it yourself and realize, this is what I've been looking for, and I'm gonna, you know, dedicate 100% of my time and energy to this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened to me. And even though I came, frankly, late to the game with storyboarding, it just motivated even more to like try to catch up and reach the level of what professionals and the industry wants.
And I think you see that a lot, you know, in the creative industry. You know, I started noticing that even way back in my first job, where some of the guys weren't just coming from school, maybe they're grad students, or maybe they are maybe they were just like 6-year students that graduated and did a shift, and like they were architectural majors, but they were some of the best, you know, like environment artists, like in my department, because they can do both, and they were using like those skills in a different way, and the results were like phenomenal. Or like, you know, other artists, we have other designers that went through grad school for some totally different, you know, and but then saw something. Or we had a designer at work who found out about motion graphics, you know, in his 4th year of college, during his like one of the random like you know, classes that the teacher mentioned it, and he was like, "What is that?" and looked and went and looked at it and was like, and changed to motion graphics after he graduated, after being in a graphic design degree the whole time in school, and then makes a switch because they hear about something, or makes a switch, or, you know, make a switch after you graduate. You know, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen a lot, you know.
And it's amazing, isn't it? It's just amazing how powerful that feeling is of finding something that you just enjoy so much that you're willing to just give up everything that you had pursued before to pursue the thing that just gives you that cathartic feeling, you know? And I think it's just, hearing those stories is just awesome, because that's really what it's all about, is finding the thing that you're going to want to do for the rest of your life. And it's never too late. Like, I don't know if you guys know Ryan Lang. He's a visual development artist at Disney.
Yes.
He's known for like his sick rendering. Like I listened to a podcast, the True Stream podcast, and he talks about how he was 25 when he started to pursue visual development. He actually majored in like hotel management.
Wow.
And then and he was born and raised in Hawaii, so he majored in hotel management. And then I forget if he went to like a convention or something where he realized, damn, like I gotta make a shift. I gotta switch gears on this, you know. And he came in, you know, at the age of 25, and for him to feel like he came late to the game, it made him realize that he needed to work twice as hard. And that's just awesome for him to have that drive to pursue his goal, even if he was competing against people that were 5 or 6 years younger than him. You know, he was willing to do anything it took to get to that point. It's all about finding that motivation and getting past the fear of, you know, like, can I accomplish this or can I not, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like really kind of lying to yourself and saying, hey, you know what, you're gonna go on this path, and as bad as it may be, you're gonna go on this path to find the other side, you know. So it's just awesome hearing stories like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have to. What is it? So there's so many things that I can say about this, but
Okay.
Mhm.
you have to have confidence in yourself
Yeah.
and know that the hard work that you're going to be putting into it is going to
hmm
help you
Yeah.
get.
hmm
And I have this saying up on my dry erase board right there. It says, "Obsession is a necessity."
hmm I like that quote.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
D- just take a look at everyone that you absolutely in history that you absolutely love, right?
hmm
Let's start with, we were talking about Apple products. Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
dude was nuts. He
hmm
was absolutely addicted to creating
Yeah.
technology.
hmm
Ryan Lang, he
hmm
became obsessed with
Yeah.
being a professional artist. You
hmm
have to, I mean, you can find a healthy balance,
Exactly.
but like we keep saying, you have to draw, and that
hmm
we purposely do those fun prompts because there's a lot of times that we're just sitting there and we don't know what to draw.
hmm
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's a
now
great,
we don't
Yeah.
it's a
have that
great help.
excuse
Yeah.
anymore.
hmm
Right. Every week we have something
hmm
to draw. So unless I'm done and
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, ooh, what do I draw next? Like,
hmm
mm-mm. That's why we made the fun prompt thing and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to have it, and don't overthink it either. Like,
Right.
hmm
Right.
draw,
Good point.
draw,
Yeah.
because you have to be. And this is a saying that sounds like a punchline.
hmm
I I think I'm the first person to ever say this, so I'm going to take credit for it. But you have to be dumb enough to succeed. There's so many people that they say, "Oh, I want to work for Disney," and they might be pretty good artists, but then they're too scared to either move to LA, or they're too scared to try or to submit artwork or to do an art test or whatever. And
hmm
if you overthink it, what's it? Yogi Berra. He's a baseball manager. That's
Uh-huh.
an old school baseball manager.
Yeah.
He said, I think it was him. Anyway, there's a saying out there that says, "You miss 100% of the you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take."
hmm
That
Mm.
wasn't Yogi
Yeah, that
Berra.
makes sense. That's a good one.
It's probably more of like a Michael Jordan basketball thing, but
Yeah.
I think that was Wayne Gretzky.
is it Wayne Gretzky?
Because I think in The Office, in one of the episodes, Michael Scott quotes that. He
Yeah.
quotes that quote and he puts Wayne Gretzky and then he puts Michael Scott at the end. So that's what I remember from. So he's like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, and then he puts Michael Scott.
Mm, funny.
So that's how I remember.
Michael Scott first said that one then.
Yeah, with Wayne Gretzky at the end. No, but that's no. Can I say that's an awesome point because
Yeah.
it's like that sense of if you overthink it, you're just gonna be paralyzed with fear.
Right.
And at the same time, it's knowing that like there shouldn't be too much pressure to achieve perfection. Because I feel like for all of us who want to achieve perfection, but that perfection doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, to get to a point where you're satisfied, you have to climb that mountain. You have to, stumble and fall. And like the journeys that we talk about, they're not easy. There are days when we think to ourselves like, I'm not good enough to do this. Like I'm not good enough to pursue this. Like, why am I doing this? And it's necessary to go through those stumps to then realize I'm just saying this to myself because I'm scared. And that's
Mhm.
where you kind of have to be a little dumb and realize, you know what? Like that's just me saying this, and that's just me not knowing what's ahead,
Mhm.
And
Right.
so it's just one of
Right.
those things that like we're wired to instinctually react to things that scare us. It's either fight or flight. And so for us to tell ourselves and to lie to ourselves that, you know, going this way is going to be good for us. It differentiates the people who dream and the people who achieve, you know? And so it's that sense of shifting your mentality to go ahead and succeed, you know? If Steve Jobs was afraid of failing, then he wouldn't have done what he did, you know?
Right.
He was willing to go through the frustrations, the stresses, the sleepless hours, sleepless nights of trying to figure this thing out, you know? And again, having the balance of knowing, okay, when do I spend time with my family and when do I spend time working too? Because at the end of the day, you don't want your obsession to control you. You want to control the obsession, you know? Otherwise, it's just going to become an unhealthy thing. So I'm glad we're talking about this because it's something that I struggle with too.
Yeah. And what's interesting is you're far along the process too. You know, you're working for a place that there's a lot of people want to work for.
A lot.
Exactly.
How did you, before we go too deep in there, how did you break into Dreamworks?
So
Unless the
when I was
police
still
are
in,
going to be called and then you didn't break in, like, how did you get your I just realized that sounds a little aggressive. How did you break in? Like, I took a window down.
Tell me how you did it. Yeah. What was the process?
My dad's a handyman. He has a bunch of tools, so I got all the arsenal. I got the weed whacker. I dressed up as a gardener. I trimmed the hedges outside the building.
One of those like really, really like friendly squirrels to harass people there. That's another story. Keep moving.
But yeah, I broke in. So I was still in school and I was applying for internships, and so I was always told by like, you know, professors and guidance counselors that like, if you really want if you want a better chance to get a job in animation, you have to pursue an internship in order to like break in that way, you know, get school credit. And then from there, you know, learn from the professionals. And then from there, you know, basically the internships are like your interviews. Then it gives you a better chance of getting in. And so for me, I spent like a year and a half applying for internships. And then thankfully Dreamworks TV, you know, gave me a shot. Then I interviewed and then that's how I got the internship at Dreamworks. And even then there was still no guarantee of really breaking into animation full time.
Right.
But the 2 semesters that I interned from September to December and then from January to April, those were my 2 opportunities to show the employers and show the company that I am capable of being a full-time person, even if it didn't mean being an artist right away. If it meant being a production assistant or starting entry level, I just wanted to show them that I'm someone who can fit into the pipeline of animation.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thankfully got the internship my last year at Cal State Fullerton, and this was my last shot. And so thankfully getting that last shot, I was able to prove to myself and to them that I could, you know, do a good job in animation. And then thankfully I was guaranteed a job right after graduation. So a month before graduating, my line producer, Mercedes, so the show that I was on was the Kung Fu Panda show, Positive Destiny. I interned on that show, and then I interned on the Hub team, which is the team that oversees a lot of CG shows. So the line producer for Kung Fu Panda reached out to me, and then she said, hey, you know, you've been doing a great job. You know, you've proven that you could fit well within the team. And she offered me a job as a PA. And then from there, she said, since you graduate May 19th, you're going to start May 21st. And so from there, I didn't have a hiatus. I just went straight into animation. And so that's how I broke in, was, you know, dedicating my time on top of homework to, you know, perfect my resumes, perfect my cover letters, apply to as many companies as possible to see if one company can bite. And then thankfully, you know, off to the races.
Yeah.
And what was the difference between your internship and being a PA?
So the internship was basically more of like an educational kind of experience where you're not really thrown into 100% of the responsibilities at Dreamworks. So like I would just be kind of shadowing a lot of what the production people did, what the production assistants did, what the coordinators did, and then also knowing like the bigger picture ideas of how a show's run. And so there's also like a kind of like a, not a curriculum, but more of like there are presentations involved on like how the industry works and how to break into certain jobs and how to get the job. And so for me, it was more like I was just visiting on the days that I was available. So there was not as much pressure to complete the certain tasks, more so like getting exposed to as much as possible. And whatever the people gave you, whatever the company gave you, you're just absorbing it. And then once you're a full-time employee, you don't have that much of an opportunity to meet people, whereas interning, you meet as many people as you can. You know, you set up as many informationals as possible in order to get that much exposure. So if you're interested in storyboards or CG or writing, being an intern is a great opportunity to dedicate the time to meet with those people, because you're not considered a full-time employee. You're just someone who's trying to expose themselves to all facets of the company. But then once you're a full-time employee, you're dedicated to the show that you're on. So there's less time to meet with people, and focusing more on your career is a little more difficult, because then now you have to basically, you know, have two jobs where you are a PA during the day, and then at nighttime you're dedicating those extra hours on everything else. So for me, that's kind of like my journey into just breaking into the industry. And then it's a whole nother story of like how I broke into storyboards.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to get into this later, but basically that's how you kind of do it. Is if you can't intern, then just find ways to make your resume and cover letter appealing to those companies. And that's something that I feel like is overlooked, because in the end you want to focus on your portfolio, but you also want to focus on finding a way to explain to the company that you're the right fit.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a juggling act, knowing when to dedicate time to your portfolio and time to your resume and cover letter.
And I think one of the important things that you said earlier was you go there and it's basically a tryout. Like they want to make sure that these are the things that they're looking for. Do you show up all the time? Do you show up late all the time? Are you early all the time?
Exactly.
When I ask you to do things, do you catch an attitude?
What's the quality of your work, and how do you finish your work, and how you present your work? Do you just do bare minimum, or do you actually go the extra mile and present something that you're actually proud of, no matter how exciting or mundane it is? And can you make that thing better as an artist? You know?
Exactly. One thing that's awesome, Charlie. Like one thing that my line producer Mercedes always says that stuck with me is it's easier to teach someone the software and the tools and the skills than it is to teach someone how to have a good attitude. And that's something that always sticks with me, because you're right. You can't teach someone how to be a different person, you know? And by being a good person, and by being someone who goes the extra mile, who, you know, is excited about whatever task that they're given, that's something that helps you break into the industry or whatever industry you're pursuing, because at the end of the day, you're surrounded by other people, you know? In the end, it's all about communication.
And they want to make sure you're cool and fun to work with.
Exactly.
No one wants to work with someone who has a doo-doo face on every day.
Or who's super cynical, and then the work's mediocre also. That's going to put you on the map.
Could you imagine being just, if you're a normal artist with a bad attitude?
But I want to stress
strike two. Show up late. That's strike three. We're good.
Goodbye.
You can stay home now.
But I want to also stress though that, like, you know, bad attitudes come in different types of packages, and sometimes it could be you. I think I've managed enough artists, and I've like worked with enough artists to know that like you're just super dry and like weird. But
you're super dry and weird.
But like, and you have that weird humor about you that like, are you being a dick, or are you just kind of like that? You know, it's like are you just being an awkward artist? Are you are you excited, enthusiastic about what we're talking about, or is it more so like, okay, cool, I'll do it? You know, like it's not about being mean to people or like or super douchey to people. It could be just simple as like you're too much in your bag of like, I'm really an introvert. I really don't feel like talking right now, but I'm here going through the motions. I'm kind of excited at times, depending on the day. Whatever's happening at home affects a lot. Like those are the type of things that makes you a bad artist to work with. You know, that you want to try to put on a good face when you go to work. Not telling you to be fake. Charlie would never say do that. I'd always say be you. But you have to understand that like how you present yourself, how you view yourself, how your self-esteem about yourself outwardly projects the people that you're working with. So, and outwardly projects to your bosses and stuff like that. So you could be a decent artist and a good artist, but have a bad taste in your mouth with everybody that works with you because of the way you approach daily work. Because like you said, it's a marathon. It's not a race. So like if you're a full-time artist somewhere, you're there every day. So you can't be super dry and weird. You know, at all, at all. And dry meaning like bland, right? Bland with your ideas, bland with your attitude. Like and it's weird. I'm using these words because they sound funny, but like bland in the fact of like it's just like okay. Like you're not mad, you're not like, overly like mean, it's just okay. Right. That's mediocre. And like bosses and like leads, they don't want mediocre. They want someone that has fresh ideas. They want someone that can come to the table and like knock it out the park, or like see this mundane thing that they're working on that like, oh, it's just a room, but somehow you did lighting in a way that make the room like pop and feel like vibrant, because that's what you do. You're an artist. You make things look better no matter what it is. The most lamest idea can be amazing in your hands. That's what you're supposed to do, which kind of is a daunting thing as an artist, right? Like it's kind of like a lot to do that 365 days a year, or however many days of the work year, but like that's when that personality, that other like 80-90% comes into play of why they picked you, because they don't mind working with you late nights or like during the day or average Monday, because Carlos is going to come in and it's going to be Monday and it's going to look like Seattle and it's going to be all gloomy, but for some reason he made this one concept that made everybody go, oh, cool, this is really good, let's try this, and it's just, that's the part of being like, you got to be spicy, you got to keep it,
one of the things that I like to brag about a little bit is when I was working at Leo Burnett, there was an art director. He was an executive art director. He was kind of a big deal. But I heard him say once, man, Carlos is always smiling. If Carlos isn't smiling, something is wrong. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's because I'm not, like, whenever I show up to places, I don't go up. I'm not trying to be better than everyone. I'm trying to be the best me possible. I love laughing and telling stories and doing all that stuff. So that's what you get. If you hire me, that's what you get. Every once in a while, when things go bad, I'll be like, oh, that sucks. But this is how we're going to do it, because it's, I mean, that's just how it goes. Sitting around crying and having a bad attitude isn't going to get it done any faster.
Nope.
And then, like, if we're in a team together, me walking in with a bad attitude is going to make the days long for you guys. And Miguel, we just got done talking before the show started. You were pulling OT for the past small amount of time, right?
Yeah, this week.
Yeah. So if we're in an office together, if we're in a room together for 12 to 18 hours, and you have just a really bad attitude, you can kick rocks. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, just be cool, man. Just be cool. It is not that hard.
Yeah, it's optimistic. Like be looking on the bright side of things.
Right.
And it's not being fake. It's not being fake happy or anything like that. It's just being this is your job. You get paid to do you get paid to make things look good, and because you're a production artist, and like this is what you do every day. So like, come to work with the best attitude you can come with. And some days you're gonna be not gonna be not feeling it, but at the same time, that's when people give you the benefit of the doubt, because everybody comes in on Monday after an amazing weekend and be like, okay, it's Monday, but everybody's supposed to love their job because we have the best jobs in the world, you know.
You want the
like,
true test.
Yeah.
You want the true test.
Yeah.
Is Friday afternoon at about 1:30.
2 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
1:30, 2 o'clock. When now everyone needs to prove that they've been working all week, and it's the production people that get pooped on every time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Yeah, it gets harder in the summertime too.
You have to go into it with your eyes wide open. It's going to happen.
Like I don't know how Miguel does it all year round, but yeah.
Especially in the
because it's summertime every day.
In the movie and TV industry, like everything, there's so much money being pushed back and forth, and the timelines are getting more and more tighter.
Yeah. Like right now, it's funny because like again, having a good attitude, but like this week, I was helping out my supervising producer on the show with locking an episode, and that means that like your revisions have to be done as soon as possible. And what's funny is that our supervising director's on vacation, so the supervising producer has to carry all that weight to be able to like help out. And it happens because people need vacations and stuff, because you know, like Charlie said, we have to work year round, you know, and we have to accumulate that vacation time to then take it, you know. And at the same time, it's like I could be upset at the person for taking a vacation, but then it's gonna, you know, precipitate. It's gonna spread to everyone else.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you got to be professional. You got to compose your emotions. You might have a bad day, but knowing how to, you know, keep your emotions in check, that's a really important thing to do, you know, because in the end, it's like people have a job to do, you know. If you make it about you and, you know, you try to cause, you know, a ruckus, you know, if you try to cause something to happen, then like you're not helping anybody out. It's just going to cause everyone else to feel uncomfortable, you know. So for me, it's like I think of it as like a good thing to work OT, because it just gives me extra money, and then it also gives me extra time to just draw, you know, and stay in the company.
And you're building relationships with people.
Exactly.
Because if you think that no one is watching, they are.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't want to do is be like, oh man, they just made changes to the script. Who's going to tell Miguel? He always sends everyone to hell when we do these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know. We talked a lot about this, but I'm going to read Drew's question from a little while ago. This is the one that I wanted to build up to. He says, hey, Miguel, and by the way, thanks, Drew, for the question. Hey, Miguel, many of my friends are looking to be storyboard artists. What advice could you give them for getting their break into the industry? Portfolio do's and don'ts, software knowledge, etc.
Okay, that's an awesome question. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, so I can answer like the last part of it. So in terms of software knowledge, the essentials would be like knowing Photoshop and Storyboard Pro, hands down, knowing those two. And then even just, you know, taking a stab at a storyboarder, that's really cool. It's just getting used to the workflow is a really important thing. Can I actually show Drew my website? I feel like that
do whatever
explains.
You want. The show, awesome. We just live in it. Yep.
All right, cool. Because portfolio, that's like the most important thing, is like having your portfolio be very easy to access. So let me go to my website.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Because in the end, a recruiter has to look at tons of portfolios every day. They have to look at tons of people every day. So for example, like my portfolio immediately has the storyboard, for example, like, and it's good to have at least around like 3 storyboards. For me, ever since I started working, it's been difficult to try to do personal stuff, but having 3 storyboards is a good number to have.
Okay.
And then also having like different types of genres. that fit in. It depends on the studio you want to go into. So like if the show maybe is more like actiony and more comedy, like having one portfolio storyboard dedicated to like comedy, one to action, and then maybe one to like a mix of, or maybe drama. So having variety helps.
Right.
But for example, like I click on the storyboard portfolio and it should be like really easy for the recruiter to access, and making it clear what you want. So like you don't want to apply for a storyboard position, but then having like say illustrations or graphic design show up. So the whole idea is to make it clear and simple that your portfolio is dedicated to the job you're applying for. So for example here, and by the way, the website service that I'm using is verb.com.
Verb, V-E-R-B?
VIRB.com.
V-I-R-B.
And I use this website because they have a cool like image feature where I can use the arrow keys and just easily flip through the content. So for example, like, and if someone's scrolling through a storyboard, it should be pretty easy to scroll through panels and stuff. So it should kind of play out like an animation. So I use Verb because it's really easy for me just to kind of like go through the panels and for the recruiter to kind of play it at their own pace, like an animation.
That's I've stalked you, and I was looking at all these things, but I didn't the key thing that makes it way cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just making it easier for the recruiters to kind of get a sense of the pacing and idea of the story. And going into like the skill set of it, like this is honestly, this portfolio is kind of outdated because I did this like over a year ago, and I feel like now I could do way better. But for example, like only having a few lines to convey the image, having a good shorthand helps when it comes to storyboarding, and then knowing how to like incorporate tones specifically to it. And also like, for example, like this was just like maybe like at most like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, less than 10 lines for this specific drawing, and just being quick about it. So in terms of drawing, like again, having confident lines, not making them look too pretty, and then also finding different compositions to use, you know? Like not having everything be this kind of shot or this kind of shot, but like varying it up, you know, like incorporating dynamic angles and stuff to it.
Yeah,
you know?
going back to the conversation from before where we were talking about moving the camera around, right?
Yeah. You know?
Because if you didn't move the camera around as much as you did, this would be it might be a great story on paper, but visually it might be incredibly
drawing weird.
boring.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in terms of portfolio, having this and even having like a short summary, for example, like my character Mila, 5-year-old engineer elf, basically describes the whole plot, and not having it be too big, and then having just this descriptor to help the recruiter kind of break into the story.
Yeah.
And then from there, it doesn't hurt to have comics too, because comics are also another way of storyboarding and storytelling. So like having like comics, like either like personal stuff or stuff you worked on for other people, like that helps to convey your storytelling. So like just having dumb comics helps to helps to like convey your storytelling sensibilities. So it helps to like give the recruiter an opportunity to see who you are.
Yeah.
So like comics help, and this is stuff I did while I was, you know, being a PA. So like this is when me working and then me just trying to take a nap because all the time I was dedicating to working and stuff, like it takes a toll.
Yeah.
And then I just have illustrations here, but like again, just focusing mainly on like character based stuff. But like again, this is like the third thing for my portfolio, so like I didn't want this atop of that. And then here, sketches, it goes to my Instagram. So it shows like just like sketches and stuff that I have. Basically anything that's related to storyboarding or the thing that I want to pursue.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like your bio too, just kind of being honest and being yourself, and then
Yep.
context stuff. So this is like an essential thing, is having your portfolio be very streamlined
Yeah.
to fit the recruiter's you know, pipeline and workflow. And then obviously in terms of skill set, like knowing composition, knowing perspective, like for example, there's an artist that was at Dreamworks named Kennedy Terrell. She has an awesome storyboard portfolio, and I kind of based my portfolio off of hers. I can actually type it in the chat. Kennedy. So that's how you spell her name. And she has an awesome portfolio, but basically it's like having your characters, some exploration, some beat boards. I have 7 here, so staying within that range. And basically a beat board helps to describe the major moments of your story. And then having thumbnails. So showing, this is a key thing, is showing your process. So showing the recruiter or the hiring manager your process, you know, like showing them how you think, you know. And that's a super important thing, because it's cool to see pretty pictures and images, but it's way more essential to see the thought process of the artist. So just showing this is like a quick way to like kind of describe what it is you should, you know, pursue in a portfolio. But for the most part, it's like finding anything that you can on storyboarding and anything that you can on the thing you're trying to pursue. So I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I feel like anything that could help you out and your friends would be great. And also too, just like, you know, constantly checking the company websites and the job postings to see what fits, and then also really reading the job qualifications to see what it is that the company is looking for in that specific job. So if they say that you need someone who knows Storyboard Pro, learn Storyboard Pro, you know. And also doesn't hurt to know Photoshop, but you know, it's about,
and remember that you might know Storyboard Pro, but that's useless knowledge if you don't know how to properly draw or or convey a message, would probably be a better way to say that.
Yeah, so like gesture drawing helps a lot. And then obviously film studies help a lot. Doing film studies of films, TV, and then people sketching too. Cafe sketching really helps a lot. And then, you know, just finding books, any book on how to draw, compositions, that is just going to elevate your skill level too. Let's see. And then also too, like online resources too, like schoolism.com is a great resource. There's tons of stuff online. I always find PDFs online and I just save them. Use that as a way to, like, you know, as a stepping stone for learning. But you know, find companies that are looking for storyboarders and just know what it is they look for. And then having a solid portfolio, that's like number one. Having a solid portfolio. You don't want to make the recruiter's job hell.
And I always try to point this out, where you have to remember a recruiter has to look through hundreds of resumes and samples and websites and stuff like that. So to make their job easier, they find any little thing to pass. So if your resume is not good, that's something that'll get you out of consideration. If your website is hard to maneuver or to find what they're looking for, right? So if you're applying for a storyboard job and you go somewhere and their website is full of, I don't know, just not storyboard stuff. That's something that's going to be, whether or not you draw very well. They're just looking for reasons to make their job easier, because there's someone out there that's going to draw just as good, if not better, and their stuff is easier to look through.
Yeah, the whole idea is to show competence in what you're doing, and just like showing that you can have fun doing what you're doing. And also a good rule of thumb is like not taking so much time developing your storyboards. Like for example, the one I showed, that took me about a week to do.
Yeah.
And like that shows like how efficient you are with drawing. You know, like you don't want to take about a month doing a storyboard that's about like 400 panels, because then when you actually work in the job, you're not going to be able to create that much output, you know, and then you're going to slow down production. So a huge thing is to like be efficient and not really be so so dedicated to pretty drawings, you know. Like the whole idea is to convey the ideas and to convey the compositions and the story, you know. And being a revisionist is good because you can learn how to draw and stuff, but at the end of the day, the ideas are the important thing. And what's interesting is that it's always hard to tell what show you're applying for, because either the show still hasn't been announced, or you know, in another capacity it's still being in development. In that case, don't focus so much on the style of the characters that you design. Focus more on like the tone, you know. So if you're going for more of like an action or a comedy, that's going to be more powerful, because the show that you might be applying for may fit within those genres, not so much the style. You can always learn the style when you work, but don't be so caught up on like, oh, I have to do things in the Cartoon Network style or the Dreamworks style. Design things the way you want to design them, but still have it be tailored towards animation and have them be appealing. But the essence is the tone, not so much the drawings.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because especially if you're going for a job as a storyboard artist, you let the visual development folks handle visual development. I mean, you might land a gig at a smaller spot and they'll ask you to do more than one thing, but at these bigger studios, they're going to tell you, look, relax, do your job. We got someone to do that job.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. It's a team effort basically. But if you know what you're doing and you develop all your time and energy to develop your skills, that's going to take you far. And the portfolio is the thing that will speak for you.
Yeah.
And taking the time to do that will help you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an awesome question.
Let's go up to a question that Landon was asking.
Okay.
He said, Miguel, what kinds of things do you do in your life that's not art related, but helps to build your drawing vocabulary?
Awesome. Dang, Landon. Okay, cool.
Do you guys want to host this show? Day?
So one thing, let's see. Honestly, like I like exercising and I like playing sports. I just haven't had a chance to do them as much because of the job, but it helps me draw because it helps to clear my mind and it helps to relieve the stress that I'm feeling while working. So it doesn't help me in the sense of improving my drawing, but it helps me to clear my mind and to not feel as pressured. So exercise and playing sports is one thing I like to do. I also like playing video games. It helps clear my mind, and it also helps me to kind of like pick up on what it is that game developers do for storytelling. Like right now I'm playing the new God of War game, and it's super cinematic. So I'm always like subconsciously picking up the compositions that they use to convey the story that they're trying to tell. And also I like reading books too. Reading helps to like, you know, create more ideas, and in the end it helps my drawing too, because I can take a description of a character and then just design it, you know, like read the description of the character in the book, and then from there just going off and, you know, taking a stab at the design. So it's good to have, and it's good to have those hobbies, because just focusing on art so much can be draining.
Yeah.
So it's good to find that breath of fresh air.
And there's going to be days that you pick up a pencil and it feels like a brick in your hand, and whatever you do is just you're not going to be happy with it. At the same time, there's other times where you pick up a pencil and you drop it and there's a I mean, the little scratches that are made are just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't go thinking that, I mean, drawing a lot and getting better at art makes the warm-up period a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But don't think that every day that you show up to your drawing tablet, it's going to be magic every time. It just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
And I told you Joey was going to be checking in. Joey Wall, he woke up and he's getting ready for bed. Good morning, Joey. Didn't mean to ignore you for this long. Yeah, Strugga. It's funny. I'm trying to see if there are any other questions in the chat. Just to make sure. Oh, here's one. Struggabugga said, hey, quick question, fellas. How much can adult art affect your career if you wanted to get into the animation, storyboard, or character design business? I'm going to go with, because I think what, I'm assuming it's a guy, but I think what they're asking is going to like adult education classes, like just things that aren't necessarily for credit.
Okay.
Would that stuff help? And my answer is yeah, because everything that you are trying to accomplish in art, the more you do it, the better it is for you. Right.
Yeah. Like I don't feel like I'm as qualified to answer this, but I feel like just any inspiration, finding inspiration from anything helps to, you know, fulfill or add to whatever career you're trying to pursue.
Right. Right. And it's the same thing as going to Ground Zero Animation Expo. That can help your career. And on the networking tip, doing some life drawing classes that aren't necessarily associated to, like if you go to, what is that, not Hangouts. There's a website out there that you can create your own groups to go do the specific thing, whether it's golfing or eating or whatever. There's a lot of places out there that'll do like photography and creative stuff, life drawing. And then you just show up there and you pay your $10 and you do life drawing. Really... All that stuff works.
Yeah, that stuff's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I think we answered everyone's question, and everyone who has been listening is probably ready for a job as a storyboard artist.
Awesome. That's
so cool. Hey,
bring
Miguel, if people want to catch up to you and they want to, even before we do that, earlier you were talking about being shy and art helping you come out of your safe space and stuff. But yet, for those of you guys that are listening, you guys should be following Miguel on Instagram, and he live streams a lot of his drawing processes. So you should check it out. I love watching you draw, man.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So as far as you're being shy, you're shy, but yet you get on Instagram and you're creating. Like what's the story behind that?
I think it's just like, it's like finding practice in just overcoming those situations. You know, it's kind of like embracing the uncomfortableness of it. So for me, it's just like finding those moments to break out of my shell that helps to like build up, a muscle you know, to be able to overcome the shyness. And I don't know, I feel like thankfully I've kind of like gone past it, but I think part of it just has to do with like just embracing that next step and just talking to people and knowing that if you just kind of stay to yourself, you're not going to be able to experience other people's stories. So for me, the Instagram live thing was like an opportunity for me to kind of break out of it and just be like, hey, this is what I'm doing, you know, and just just like this podcast, having an honest chat with people about process and knowing that if the stream isn't going well because I'm not able to produce a good drawing, that's like a lesson that people are getting, is that like this is an opportunity for me to try something out, and if it doesn't work, that's fine, I move on to the next thing. And it's just cool talking to people and, you know, having art be the thing that gets you to talk about what you do, you know, and just finding people that are like-minded to help break out of it too. So finding a community, like you said, hangouts for people to draw or do something else, doing those things has helped me to become more confident in, you know, speaking out and, you know, doing things more publicly. So for anybody who struggles with it, it's good for them to find those people to share their passions with in order to find a way to break out of your shell and to express yourself more. So, and even going to conventions too, it helps to just not be as shy and knowing that the person you're talking to is just like you, a human being, you know, and like not on a pedestal. So for me, it's like every now and then I can either be really social or moments where I just need to be alone. It's acknowledging how I'm feeling, but also knowing that I can't stay in a certain spot forever. I need to balance things out. So I'm just thankful to have people in my life to like motivate me to, you know, be myself and to not, you know, be paralyzed by the opinions of others, but just knowing that you have something important to say. And, you know, doing live streams and doing podcasts shows that you have something valuable to provide to people. You know, even if it's just having a normal conversation, you don't know if whatever you say can impact somebody's life. So I enjoy doing it, and in the end, you never know what you're going to get out of it.
And also there's an added benefit to that where and not even in a dirty way, but you're exposing yourself to the art community, and they won't know what you're looking for unless you tell them. And so like reaching out or not even what you're looking for, but what you're doing, you know, being able to go out there and people get to know you because of the content that you're creating. And so it's a form of networking too. So if you're doing a live stream, and then let's just say you go to apply for a job somewhere, and there's going to be an artist that has checked in on you and saw you, and they might be that one little thing that tips the scales in your benefit, or in your for your benefit. If they say, oh yeah, I was watching Miguel drawing just a couple weeks ago and he seems like a really cool guy, you know, and you just never know. You just never know. But putting yourself out there is definitely, I think, is definitely a good move. You're really good at it. And like I said, I love drawing. I love watching you draw, whether it's on Instagram or at Ground Zero. Yeah, and I always learn something when I watch you. So thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, no problem.
All right, now, if people want to see your artwork and they want to catch up to you online, where can they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at Miguel Baltazar _art. That's the main social media platform I use. I also have my website, miguelbaltazarart.com. And then, yeah, those are the two main areas you can, you know, reach out or check out my stuff. So
cool.
If you can, check it out, and I would appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Jack was still jet lagged from traveling to Korea for Dreamworks Television.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys want to catch up with Jack, he's at sketchbookjack.com, sketchbookjack everywhere else. And of course, Charlie had to drop out early, but thanks, Charlie, for being here. You can catch up to Charlie's goodness. He is at cargocollective.com/Charlie B. Williams and Instagram.com/CharlieBW3. You can find me at coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. And again, if you go to youtube.com/coconutjustice, take a look at my, not the last video, but the one before that, where I'm drawing a Sketch Zone fun prompt in a, I was actually at a music festival using a sketch wallet. And so if you subscribe there, it helps me a ton. But if you leave a comment on that video where I'm drawing at a music festival, you will be entered for a chance to win a sketch wallet that I will be giving away this Saturday, actually. So you have a few more days to go. Or not Saturday, sorry, Sunday on the 30th. So yeah, do that. And then obviously this is the Sketch Zone podcast. You can go to sketch.zone and take a look. This was episode 185. So we have a ton of content out there. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do us a favor and subscribe. And you see how we do. We like to include the chat. So quick thank you to, let's see who showed up. Landon, Moongia, Drew. Thank you, Drew, for all the wonderful questions. Who else popped in here? The one with the funny name. Oh, Shiloh said hi. Hi, Shiloh. Long Arm. Hello, Long Arm. Roz was there. Hello. Strugabugga. That's the one. Strugabugga. Corey Stisser. Hey, I didn't even know that Corey was there. Hi, Corey. Who else? Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. She was our guest last week. And I think that's about it. Oh, the Discord channel is discord.gg, or I'm gonna fix the link, but we have an active Discord channel. So if you guys want, we have a bunch of things happening on there. We have like a channel on there for feedback. So if you're working on logos, graphic design, characters, anything like that, throw it up there. I'll throw up some of the stuff that I'm working on as far as fun prompts and stuff. What else? We have another section for, we don't do artist inspiration on the show live anymore, but we do have a channel on the Discord channel. So just take a look at the show notes, and I'll include I will include the link. Yeah, that's about it. We are all over. If you go to sketch.zone, you'll see all the links to everything for Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, the fun prompt this week is homely, trembling in a hotel room.
Nice.
There's so much to unpack there. But yeah, homely, trembling hotel room. And if you decide to participate, please post it to Instagram, tag us, go through the process of tagging us. And then that way we'll be alerted, and then we'll be able to share it. And like we do at the beginning of every show, we take a look at what the nation did. I think
Awesome.
that's it. I think we killed it. You, my friend, are fantastic. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out with us. It's
no.
Again, I'm very proud of you. When we first met, you were PA, and now you are storyboard revisionist. It's going to be fun to watch you make it big.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun. I really, really enjoyed it.
we'll have you back soon.
All right, yeah, please do. Looking forward
Awesome.
to it.
All right, everyone. Have a good week.
All right, bye, guys.